The year is 323 BC. The air in Babylon is thick with heat and panic. Alexander the Great, the man who conquered the known world, is dead at just 32 years old. He leaves behind an empire of unprecedented size and absolutely no clear heir. When his generals asked him on his deathbed who should rule it all, Alexander allegedly whispered, "To the strongest." It was a recipe for absolute chaos. Enter Ptolemy I Soter. He's a childhood friend and trusted bodyguard of Alexander. Ptolemy is looking at a map. He doesn't want the whole world. He just wants one piece, Egypt. Fast forward to 321 BC. Perdiccas, the ruthless regent trying to hold the empire together. His plan? Take Alexander's body back to Macedonia. Ptolemy knows if Perdiccas gets that body, he becomes unstoppable. Ptolemy strikes. Through a brilliant mix of military force, he intercepted the convoy. Ptolemy hijacks the corpse and reroute to Egypt. Perdiccas finds out he's been robbed of the ultimate prize. He is livid. He gathers the grand imperial army and marches straight for Egypt to crush Ptolemy. But Ptolemy uses the geography against him. When Perdiccas tries to cross the Nile at the Fort of Camels, Ptolemy is on the front lines, personally throwing attackers off the walls. Frustrated, Perdiccas orders a disastrous night crossing. The river currents are too strong, and the waters are swarming with Nile crocodiles. Thousands of Perdiccas' men drown or are eaten alive. The horrific losses break the army's spirit. That night, top officers, led by Python and Antigenes, mutiny. They storm Perdiccas' tent and assassinate him. The next morning, Ptolemy rides into the enemy camp. But he doesn't attack. He brings food and water, instantly winning the loyalty of the surviving imperial army. The threat is eliminated. The body is his. Egypt is his. Now securely in power, Ptolemy puts away his sword and picks up a blueprint. He makes Alexandria his capital, realizing he's a Greek ruling a native Egyptian populace. Now securely in power, Ptolemy puts away his sword and picks up a blueprint. He makes Alexandria his capital, realizing he's a Greek ruling a native Egyptian populace. In 282 BC, Ptolemy I Soter achieves the rarest feat for a general of his era. He dies of old age in his own bed. He peacefully passes the massive, wealthy empire to his son, Ptolemy II Philadelphus. Ptolemy I built an empire through cunning, pragmatism, and stability. But his descendants? They are about to discover that when you have infinite wealth, absolute power, and a belief that you are living gods, things get very weird very fast. Welcome back to Alexandria. It is the mid-3rd century BC. Ptolemy I is dead, and his son, Ptolemy II Philadelphus, sits on the throne. But Ptolemy II doesn't want to just be a king. He wants to be the ultimate collector of human knowledge. He pours unimaginable wealth into the great library, demanding that every ship entering the harbor hand over its books to be copied. He attracts the greatest minds of the ancient world, men like Euclid and Eratosthenes. Enter Arsinoe II. She is Ptolemy II's older sister. She has already been a queen in 2 other kingdoms through previous marriages, surviving assassinations and wars. Arsinoe methodically clears the board. She engineers a plot that frames Ptolemy II's current wife for treason, resulting in the young queen's exile. Suddenly, the throne next to her brother is empty, and Arsinoe knows exactly who should fill it. Ptolemy II does the unthinkable for a Greek king. He marries his own sister, Arsinoe II. To the Greeks, this is an absolute abomination. But Arsinoe is a PR genius. She doesn't pitch it to the Greeks, she pitches it to the native Egyptians. She brilliantly aligns them with the ancient Egyptian gods Isis and Osiris, the legendary brother-sister deities. But the rot hasn't set in just yet. When Ptolemy II dies, his successor, Ptolemy III Euergetes, takes the stage. And while his father was a man of books, Ptolemy III is a man of war. He marches the Egyptian army deep into the rival Seleucid Empire, expanding the Ptolemaic borders to their absolute maximum. But his greatest victory isn't the land he conquers, it's what he brings back. He recovers thousands of sacred Egyptian statues that had been stolen centuries earlier by the Persians. When he returns them to the temples, the native priests crown him as the greatest pharaoh since the ancients. Under Ptolemy III, the dynasty reaches its absolute zenith. They are the undisputed masters of the Mediterranean. They are impossibly rich, culturally unmatched, and militarily terrifying. But peace makes you lazy, and absolute power makes you paranoid. The kings are about to get weak, the queens are about to get ruthless, and the people of Egypt are about to realize they have the power to burn it all down. Welcome to the late 3rd century BC. The mighty conquerors of the Ptolemaic Dynasty are gone. The new king, Ptolemy IV Philopator, doesn't care about empire building. He cares about massive, floating palace ships, endless parties, and drinking himself. Enter Sosibius, the ruthless chief minister. He assassinates anyone who threatens his power, including the king's own family members, effectively running the empire like a mob boss. But while Sosibius is busy playing palace politics, a crisis strikes. Rival empires attempt to invade Egypt. Desperate for manpower, Ptolemy IV does something his ancestors refused to do. He arms and trains tens of thousands of native Egyptians. They win the battle. But as the dust settles, the native troops look around and realize something dangerous. We have the weapons. We have the training. Why are we paying crushing taxes to these Greek foreigners? A massive revolt explodes. A native leader named Horwonifer declares himself the true pharaoh of Egypt. For 20 grueling years, the southern half of Egypt breaks away entirely. Fast forward a few decades. The empire has shrunk, and the family tree is a tangled, toxic mess. Enter Ptolemy VIII. The people secretly call him Physcon, which translates to the fat or potbelly. To secure his grip on power, Physcon marries his sister, the powerful and popular Cleopatra II. But this isn't enough for him. In the ultimate betrayal, he seduces and marries her teenage daughter, his own niece, Cleopatra III. Yes, you heard that right. Physcon forces his sister wife and his niece wife to rule alongside him as a trio. The psychological warfare inside the palace is absolute torture, and it's about to spill out into the streets. The Alexandrians despise Physcon. The mob violently revolts, burning down parts of the palace. Physcon flees the country with his young niece, leaving his sister Cleopatra II to take sole control of the empire. Physcon manages to kidnap Memphites, the 14-year-old son he shares with Cleopatra II. In exile, he murders his own child. He dismembers the boy, packs the body parts into a beautiful chest, and has it delivered to Cleopatra II in the middle of her public birthday celebration. The dynasty has hit rock bottom. It is a house of horrors. Cleopatra II immediately plunges Egypt into a catastrophic civil war to destroy him. Eventually, the family is forced to make peace just to survive, but the damage is done. The Ptolemies have spent all their wealth and blood fighting each other and their own people. They are no longer a global superpower, and across the sea, a new apex predator has been watching. They don't fight with phalanx, they fight with legions. In Acte 4, Rome arrive. And the once mighty Ptolemies will have to beg, borrow, and sell their souls just to survive. Make sure to subscribe and hit the like button so you don't miss the terrifying rise of Rome in the next episode.